de l'arrivée du président de la République. Voilà donc le président de la République tout à l'heure à sa descente d'avion.
Some people wrote to me that they have not seen the president.
Détendu.
And those who
voilà
have written that they have not seen the president, this is your answer. This is the president. This was the image we had not brought to you because we brought to you other images of the president. This one is just
la
coming
première dame qui salue donc, qui reconnaît sans doute la caméra de Martin et Toga.
Good morning and thanks for joining us for edition of August 21st, 2026 of Cameroon Wahala, just few hours after President Paul Biya regained the Simanen soil. He came after 72, 73 from some sources. He actually left the country through a private trip on the 7th of June. And he waited until the 20th of August to make his appearance, something that CPDM surrogates consider as a life memory activity. Cameroonians have now been turned to ceremonial population. They give more privilege to ceremonies than the project that are actually indicators of development. Today, we are questioning ourselves. What next after Biya's return? Welcome to join us. I'm not alone in the studio. I'm being joined by Ferdinand. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. and thanks for our viewers for joining us. This morning we are looking at Biya's return to Cameroon. Many in the previous has asked if who is waiting Biya. I think one of our editions talks about that. And finally he's back. But then today we want to dive into analysis because to give clarity to our viewers who might not understand the nitty-gritties behind the scene, and to help them understand a lot of things. And we'll be starting with, now that he's back, what is there to be clarified? What is real and what is not real?
Good. The images, not all are real. You know, it's been long we trusted the state broadcasting media, Cameroon radio and television. But for those who are constantly online, we have learned over the years their contribution in the stay of the Biya's government. 43 years is quite a time not to reckon with. So it's not just a simple man who is maintaining himself. He has elaborated a whole system that enables him to stay in power. And the state broadcasting media is one of those tools that is used to manipulate opinion. It builds narrative that continue to present Mr. Biya as a saint, as a man that is forbidden to attack, as a man who can sustain himself by himself, who does not really need the people, you and I, in order to survive. And so in this edition, we want to start with the images, those that were made before and even during the live broadcasting yesterday. One are the images, not all of them were correct. Images of the previous year of his return ran the social media a few hours before the live edition. And if they kept emphasizing on his arrival and the handwritten to the Prime Minister, John Gute, and the State Minister, Secretary General at the Presidency of the Republic, Ferdinand Gongo, is because they want something, they want to force that argument into our mindset.
Yes, before we go into more, I want to bring up this point, which is still to make our viewers understand better. Before now, when the President is leaving the country, we see a lot of the Prime Ministers, the President of Senate, the Secretary of State, and many others, they go to maybe see him off, and when he's coming back, that same approach. But something changed, according to what his recent return, which was yesterday. It wasn't as before. What is happening? Because now that gives room for people who just want to create content, even national TV seem not to give us the reality. So why? What has changed that those protocols and procedures seem not to be respected?
First, the age of the President of the Republic. And when I talk of age, I earlier mentioned on this channel that it's a cohort that are ruling the country for 43 years. Biya only know people of his age. And so the President of the Senate, before now, was somebody closer to him. Marcel Nyadifente of blessed memory, he was 84 when he died. He was, I think, 81. He was younger than Biya for some few months or few years. So his health situation made it that sometimes he was not available to come and welcome the President of the Republic. And we equally know that the President of the National Assembly had similar challenges. So all of them were practically having the same crisis. And so we can understand why at a certain time the state protocol had to change. And because the society environment does not actually accommodate vacuum, it has gradually now been adapted to a new protocol. But here is a protocol that used to exist. At first, when President Paul Biya traveled abroad or returned, the Prime Minister, Speaker of the Parliament, President of the Senate, and Secretary General at the presidency used to be present at the airport. Yesterday, it was 2 out of 4. Now, the Director of the Civil Cabinet is somebody like a private secretary in your office. Most of the time, we give more relevance to the title than it is in actual term, because we are in Cameroon and we are living a context. Some people call it the end of time, the end of mandate, but that particular statement is actually false, because end of mandate actually means nothing for a regime that wants to die in power. So we shouldn't be luring people that very soon the regime will be backing off. No, they have intention. If they will steal election and send Chiroma, the actual winner, to Gambia, and we are here today narrating and calling him the head of state, as the Constitutional Council force our mouth to those who refuse to accept that lies, where some are in prison right now that we are saying. Who only said that Biya was not the winner? It was Chiroma. So these are... I don't want us to go into election wahala or maybe allegations. Right. Let's focus on the... It was just a way to say that the absence of the speaker and the Senate president has now been made a new protocol. Meanwhile, that is what has not been existing. We should equally say that it would have been good that these two authorities should be there, because when we are in democracy, we must always give preference to the voice of the people. The Speaker of the National Assembly happens to be the representative, the legislative arm of the government. That is why they are there, to represent all that fabric. If there was some other person that was supposed to be there, maybe the judiciary should accompany. So when departing, Biya would arrive at the airport and grant audience to the Senate president. That was before. And to the Prime Minister. These officials would then go to the plane and stand in front.
Let me just come in there.
Right.
As a normal Cameroonian, who doesn't understand the nitty-gritties, this was a private visit. Should he still receive the same protocol when he was not on an official visit or official travel abroad?
As we said, that is what we used to obtain.
Regardless of whether the visit was private or...
This is history.
Okay.
And when we are teaching history, we contextualize that it was happening in Cameroon, whether private or business. First of all, Biya's outing has hardly been business. Just a few times he has gone to attend some particular summits. He rarely participates, at least for the past 2 decades. For the past 1 decade, like since 2014 or 2011, he rarely takes active part in a summit, the African Union, the United Nations. Just a few summits when he started diversifying Cameroonian partnership with other countries, notably Turkey, Russia, or France. That we actually see Mr. Biya moving a delegation and China. That is the few instances that we can have that Mr. Biya is traveling for business purposes. So most of the time he travels for his private business, and what we used to obtain, we are no more obtaining them. So that disrupted the age of the previous speaker and the president of Senate, disrupted the protocol, and so the number of dignitaries have reduced just to the Prime Minister and the Secretary General, Minister of State. What we obtain today, when he goes abroad, he drives up to the aircraft door, stand, wave his hand, and board the plane. The same happened when he returned. He disembarked from the plane, stand, greet, and drive off to the presidency. And so, yesterday, Cameroonian wanted a long moment between when he come down from the plane and when he depart to the presidency. That cannot be possible. I don't know how many of us here are blessed to have somebody of 93 in our own personal family. Very few. So, we should not be lured by all the images of 33 that we are having in our offices, especially for government officials that are following us, to think that to allow the narrative of an ever young president fool us. Mr. Biya at 93 is prone to medical challenges, to physical challenges. And so you cannot expect him to stay for that length of time. I mean, the long we could have was 14 seconds yesterday. But just the time for him to give a handshake. Even the Prime Minister does not benefit a serious handshake. It was almost like touching and escaping. The only person who actually felt like a president had greeted him was the Secretary General, Minister of State, Ferdinand Gongo. And so people are yawning, asking themselves, is he really back? Is it not an old tape that was replayed? And we will not dive into those. And that is why, dear friend, I should emphasize here, why we call for membership on the channel. You need to subscribe. $5 cannot kill you to be a member of this channel, so that you can benefit and have some privileges. If you keep feeding yourself with fake news channel that can only inflate you with estimated information, with sweeping statements that cannot be verified, you will keep questioning yourself even when all the indicators are already available. There are still so many people out of this channel, not you, who still believe that the head of state is not bad. No. That all that was played yesterday was a recorded video of the previous event. What kind of life is that if you can only be feeding on fake news?
Let me come in there, because it seems to be a great disappointment to Cameroonians, the CPDM, and everybody that was in the airport, or they're expecting to see the president, not to have an iota of the president. And if we know that the president will not grant audience or will not even give attention to Cameroonians that have come out in their numbers to welcome him, why make it a hope? Because here we're announcing this, and many other people saying, let's go and welcome the president. So what is happening? I just find it funny that people will. And again, what should happen now? What do those who were there? Are they happy that they went there and did not even see the president? Because they are as confused as those who now are getting from you saying that it might be an old tape, which is allegedly old tape that was played, because there is no evidence that he was there and people saw him. Even those who were there cannot attest that they saw him as they would normally see the president as before.
I am happy with your question, because it brings the inflated discussion so far to reality. It kind of reminds us of where we are actually living. Please, again, if you have not yet noted it somewhere, Mr. Biya Paul is 93 years old. And so,
is that a genuine weakness?
Our president is weak. If you paid your transport to the Yaoundé Simale airport yesterday to welcome the head of state, and you are angry because you spend your money and you could not see him, my dear friend, what I want to tell you is that at Mr. Biya's age, he cannot be as dynamic as you are still expecting. You might have been lured by images, by narrative. It's not your fault, but seize this opportunity. Get subscribed to a serious channel that have the tools to fact check what is available online, and even can direct you to confirm if you have listened from other sources.
Let me ask this, because the claim you're making that they should subscribe on the basis of where, can you independently and not be a conspirator that the president came back to Cameroon?
We are not here to ascertain. In our private membership forum, that is where we make assertion, because there are people who have paid the menu that they are consuming. Here is a public place, it's a public market, and people come here for different reasons. We are simply telling them that the fact that we've been around for longer than them, we spend much hours online treating the same topic. Just the fact that we've been around for long give us more credit to talk about certain things in public.
Thank you. If you are just joining us, you are to Cameroon Wahala on the phone, Cameroon. And we are discussing the arrival of the president, or the return of President Paul Biya, long awaited. 74 days outside for a short visit. And before we came online or live, we were debating what it means short-lived. Some say it's 10 days, others say 90 days. And so we think that maybe the president is justified. What do you have to say about this? It's just a side note to the discussion that the CPDM advocates, or I don't know how to call this.
Surrogates.
Yes, the surrogates who are there saying that no, he told us that he was going for a short leave, and a short leave is 90 days is justified. So what do you have to say before we move on?
Well, his surrogates are people that have valid reason, and we earlier distinguished 3 categories of surrogates in this platform: his immediate family members, his friends, and those who are benefiting from the system, both militant of the CPTM and the fake, in quote, opposition members that are only there to play dirty water within the opposition. Those are the 3 categories of people who yesterday were agitating. They were rewarded with 5-hand finger, and that is one of their frustrations. We've been talking about them for the past 5 minutes, because they keep bringing confusion in the line. The fact that the traveler went to the airport and they were just waved with a hand that does not clearly see. Some people have now painted the hand, that hand looked like a 34 years old, that it was not a hand of somebody of 94 or 93. Well, those are independent speculations that we cannot go into to clarify. Okay. We just want to emphasize here that we've been around for long, and we know what it looked like for the President of the Republic to be back home, and that of yesterday, we already confirmed in our private community. It takes you only $5 to access membership, and when you get there, you will have clarity for all your worries.
Yes, thank you for that, making that clear to us. Let's get to weightier matters. Now, what are the expectations? He's back.
Right.
The long-awaited different, yes, he has been out and so many things, maybe since we are at home. Now that he's back, where are we?
Okay, that takes us, we are on expectation.
Yes.
Now, we should be able to put some facts clear. Cameroonians are expecting back to school. Back to school is what we have on our table, right?
Yes.
Yes. In the Northwest and the Southwest, they have different speed. The GCE result is yet to be published, but the French counterpart were published a month ago. French speaking, they have already seeked their network. Even University of Yaoundé 1, where some students were mobilized and given 1.5 yesterday to go and stay along the road to give the impression that Cameroonians are actually interested with the return of Paul Biya. Actually, they are already planning how they will do induction into the new year, into the new school year. But in the Anglophone region, we are still expecting, though they told us yesterday that the delegation have left Boya to Yaoundé to submit the result, and so anytime from now the result can be published. That we will not confirm publicly, but we can make more clarity on it in the private community. So what are we trying to say about expectation? That is what Cameroonians are expecting, that we should have a history back to school, even if we already know that in the Northwest and the Southwest.
I think let's focus our expectation with respect to the coming back of the president. For instance, let me give
indicators.
What are the priorities now that the president is back? It's not 5 priorities, and we'll discuss them, maybe one after the other.
We have set them already on this channel. He, in the ending month of March, modified the constitution and made provision for the position of a vice president. As we talk, 5 months after, nobody has been appointed, and he is the only person who can appoint them. But most appointment has been made out of the country than in the country. When he was making his short leave, what is considered to be short leave, according to Charles Egunen's diplomatical talk, which is over 2 months, going into 3 months. I don't know where we find ourselves to always be justifying things in the Schengen, to be applying in Africa, Central Africa, to be more precise. Well, let's come back. So, Cameroonians are expecting that a vice president should be appointed.
Okay, so we expect appointments.
So, will he be a young person or an old person? Some people even advocated for an Anglophone. And so, at the end of the day, it benefits the 3 categories of the people I earlier told you. Because some of us, we expect nothing from the Biya regime again. He has failed, hopefully, and 0 times any number is 0. Nothing is going to come out positive from this system. Well, some people say it's being too pessimistic.
Are you being an analyst or you are an advocate?
We get 3 categories of people who are benefiting from his presence, and we don't fall within the 3 categories. But the overwhelming majority expressed their voice in the October the 12th polls that were rigged. What do you expect us to say again? They are abusing their power. So many people are in prison. You want to stop me from talking? I'm seeing your hand indicating behind. So, back to what we're talking about, the expectation. You see that position, he ran his campaign, if at least he still respects Cameroonian. His campaign was run under the theme Youth and Women. So, we now understand why some people expect that a young person should be appointed in that position. We really understand. But it happened that Mr. Biya always does not fall in people's different prognostic. You cannot make prognostic about him. He always changes. Well, Charles Ebune yesterday was talking about the first judge of the Supreme Court. That is a woman, a certain magistrate, Atangana. Yes. If that was an indicator, she was appointed, I think, in the month of February or January, before the judiciary resumption of the year. Yes, let's say that was an indicator. The military appointment, that happened when he was abroad. there were some young people who were between the age of 50 and 60 that moved from colonel position to general position.
Wait, that in Cameroon, when you call young people, you're calling 50 and 60? Well, is that what we consider to be young?
Unfortunately, the two people I just named are just even above 50. Let me just tell you that they are above 50. Even if you look at our ministers, there are 66 of them. None of them is below 50. So there are clear indicators that a man of 93, his own definition of being youth has nothing to cut below 50. If we don't get into some of this reality, we will keep, choking from our expectation, because what we read from other countries, other democracy, we want to force it through. The only way to force it is through the ballot. And those who vote and they cannot defend, they have no other voice than to succumb to whatever decision that the bullets or the guns fall onto their heads. So these are the people, these are some of the expectations, but there's equally an expectation that this one, he is the one who caused it. When doing his end of year speech on December the 31st, 2025, the President of the Republic, Paul Biya, announced that he will be making a cabinet reshufflement in the days ahead. We are now turned on August the 21st, 2026, practically 8 months and plus to the days that he announced, and yet no list, but the attempted list that was failed to be published at the CRTV.
So let me just come in and just to continue from where you're putting and give another perspective. Now that he's back, do we think that there should be major changes in governance and administration in Cameroon? Maybe changes around the ministers, other directorate general positions where they'll bring in a new energy, or we expect the same old approach, maintain those who have been there for the past 20, 30 to 40 years? Are we expecting that?
Well, that takes us to state cooperation. Recently, the Minister of Finance did a reclassification and promoted some states to first category, and we don't know on which basis, because there are so many state parameters in Cameroon, parastatals in Cameroon that are actually running on deficits. Some are 56 billion, some are 100 and something billion. Very few of them are actually contributing to the national economy. But
I think Camtel, I saw a report, Camtel seems to be the first.
Right.
In terms of the, I think, highest performance state corporations are concerned, so something like that.
No, you were asking
business in Cameroon. Maybe that might be an asset.
Yes.
But the idea is, now that the president, we have been saying the president is absent, the president's vacancy, there's vacancy in the country, now he's back. Do we expect significant changes?
Yes, there are some direct things that he can do right now. There is quite a quagmire happening at the State National Hydrocarbon Corporation, that where a woman, Madame Mutiki, is actually running the affair of the state, and it's been happening for so many years, but now it has taken a different turn. Barrister Batonier Akeremona have criticized consistently that particular sector, but nothing seems to be done there. And some people say it's a private owned parastatal, which is one of the highest contributor after I think after CDC is followed by, since CDC now is down, I think it's the #1 contributor to the state budget. So you should understand they talk of more than 56%. So when you understand, when we are talking about the National Hydrocarbon Corporation, you shouldn't think it's a small thing. The Sonatel that was recently nationalized. I've noticed in Cameroon that anything that is nationalized this day is actually a prank. Yes, because electricity, people are sleeping more in darkness now than they have ever done for the past 5 years in so many parts of the country. So you understand that if there is anything like Sonatel said that they need a starting budget of about 54 billion to kickstart their activities properly. If they can take some of the money that have been embezzled through the mine, through the gold mafia, to settle that problem, I think it will do more good to us. But we equally have Sonara. We said that out of the 13 power plants that will make the refinery function, 4 are down. 9 are still active, and according to Captain Efudu, if the plants have not been set to activity, it's because the black market is benefiting a certain high state official. We consider that as allegation. But if that's not the case, Mr. Biya, as the man who still holds the magnets, the gear of the country, can push those 9 power plants to get active. So we were talking about the situation, but we cannot forget about the roads. This is back to school, and people are traveling for holiday and traveling. We have recorded so many road accidents. Recently, I think the President of the Republic can simply intensify sensitization campaign on road users to see how they can limit the toll of death. We are talking at a time when so many people have decried children.
Is that something left to be done by the president?
Well, we are simply saying that he can press on these different issues. Just give us some incentive, just like what we saw during after election, when the Minister of Territorial Administration had to be the gendarme in every sector. We saw him going to the sector of urban planning, where he launched what we call a task force to intensify activity in cleaning garbages. I mean, urban town garbage and disposal. We saw some improvement there. We are simply saying that if there are some particular sector where he needs to intensify activity to catch up with the deficit it is creating nationwide, is going to be good. The scandal of gold, the gold standard, a lot of things. You remember Deputy Director of the Civil Cabinet, Mr. Ousval Baboki, has been cited, notably by the Pan-African newsletter Jeune Afrique, time and again, that he has, he is proprietor of a gold mafia network. That is yet to be confirmed. They still remain largely allegedly stories. But the President of the Republic, like the main man of the land, Captain F. do have made outing to equally add more weight to most of this deficit we are facing nationwide. He is well placed now to start shifting the draft so that Cameroonians should at least put a dot on the I that has already been carved.
Yes, again, just to ask again, the Prime Minister back in Rabat told us that there was a presidential welcome. Right. Now that the president is there, do we expect that he will still officially welcome the women's indomitable lionesses for the victory?
Well,
what's your take as an analyst?
Our ability,
is it worthwhile?
Our ability to make prediction is above 50. So since that falls under celebration, and Cameroon is mostly, we always prefer celebration to. Cameroonian and the system are prone to celebration than action. So yes, Paul Biya is going to receive the girls, and he will take that opportunity to, and that will be an achievement for Samuel Eto'o, who did not have a confirmation from the Minister of Sport and Physical Education. He would seize that opportunity again to make Chantal Biya prove to the Minister of Sport and Physical Education that she has preference to Samuel Eto'o and that they can bypass hierarchy. Well, the Minister himself already indicated that no, it is the head of state who have that privilege to bless the champion, the African champion, as is the case with the indomitable lionesses. So I think I can give, based on the background and the fact that I've been around and the choice of this government that function with promises and celebration, yes, it falls within their parameter where they are strong. They are 80%. Those of you who are statisticians, they have a stronger hold in celebration and promises. So yes, it's possible that he is going to welcome the indomitable lionesses of Kenya.
Still, another expectation with respect to the local elections. Do you think that there will be an extension for registration and things like that since he's there to get more?
Yes,
these are also issues that are coming up. We're all expecting that the president should look at. And can you say categorically, since you think that there is a membership group that gives us privilege, but we want to benefit, that in the next 90 days we'll have our vice president?
People, no. When it comes to the position of vice president, as I tell you, it's going to benefit more to some category of people.
Regardless, yes.
I may just find out
tomorrow.
But my prediction,
in the next 90 days, do we think that we'll have a vice president?
90 days, 3 months, so by November, so to say. Well, what I can say with more certainty is the local election that might be called anytime soon. Between the 90 days that you say, so by November, yes, local election can be convened for February next year. So I can ascertain that. Now, for the position of the vice president, the position of the Cameroon Renaissance Movement of Professor Maurice Kamto, which I happen to be a militant, actually do not still recognize the 2026 March the 31st constitutional change. We are still holding back to the 1996 constitution, which rather prefer the president of the Senate to take 40 days and observe. But that debate is long overdue. So if we were to match with the constitutional modification, we will say, well, whether he appoints or he doesn't appoint, what we observe and what we have been observing since 2019, where he snatched a mandate that he did not deserve, just as he did again in 2025, is that there have been a great gray, what Kamto called the gray, the biological transfer of power from a father to a son. Most people were already making prediction for Paul Biya, but he's been prepared for the position for long, just like Umar Bongo and Debi's son were all prepared so many years before. It will be no shock surprise to anybody to know that Paul Biya takes over that position. But others say, for now, it is Ngongo who happens to be benefiting from that. He actually acts right now as a vice president. The president of the republic has given him a blind trust delegation of signature, which actually gives him room to do and undo on the future of the people. We might not go back again thinking on the different declaration made by Captain Efudu, but at least we now have more clarity that for someone who have worked there at the intelligence service, a quite unique and privileged position, to has made a powerful revelation, just that he all made them under a tone of revenge, which actually brings more sentiment and emotion than global interest. But what we obtain is that if a position of vice president was to be made, it will neither be an Anglophone nor a charismatic leader of the opposition who can actually help us achieve the Sustainable Development Goal, the SDG 2020 and 30, which we are now left only with 4 years to reach, but which indicators are very far below 10%. That is the much I can say. Those who are expecting that the vice president position is going to come and change anything in the system, I would just want to tell you that we are in a landlocked system where every segment of the country has been carved and allocated to different landlords who make the rules. And so if you don't dance to the tune of their own music, you only find yourself in prison or marginalized or forced to exile. You should know where we live so that you don't grow yourself and choke up out of expectations.
Thank you for such analysis. And before we move away from expectation, I still want to ask this question. Maybe you should ministers and director generals, among other top-ranking officials, be afraid that there will be
cabinet reshufflement? As I said again, what will it benefit Cameroonian if there is a cabinet reshufflement? Some few families, among themselves, they are going to reorganize, maybe. But Cameroonian are looking for the rule of the law. Cameroonian are expecting that the judiciary system should be functional. Since 2019, Cameroonian, there are more than 5 generations of magistrates that have not been sworn in. Those are little things that Cameroonian expect. It as a new cabinet reshufflement is going to benefit, but some families that are already eating. And so, yes, from the perspective of tribe, family, and the privilege, yes, it's going to benefit some few people, some few elite class. It's going to benefit some few tribe that so far have shown their loyalty to the 43-year-old regime. And so, but Cameroonian in their majority, the layman on the streets, the people of the opposition who do not still have a status in Cameroon, might not benefit anything. One would have expected that maybe Chiroma should be granted, that is a presidential pardon, and let him come back to the country. But now that is more of a hope than a reality, given that for the 9 months, even being abroad, his communication style has not met up with the promises and the hope he nursed in the mind of Cameroonian. The question came up over and over again: what are your strategies to fight the results? Because we know it's going to be weak. He said, for somebody who has worked with the system for 25 years and has been a tool used to marginalize the people, he has now turned his back, and so we should just trust his strategy. We have seen the strategy for 9 months, unable to even stand with the detained, those who are unjustly detained for their right, to even communicate properly. We rather saw how he encouraged activists online to be attacking a man whose candidacy was simply ripped off unjustly from some Maurice Kamto. And so, from the background of things, sometimes we are even tempted to think that he was a spy within the opposition. So, I just want to come back to say that a new cabinet reshufflement, and they cannot cut down the state budget, they cannot cut down the lifestyle of these ministers, is going to do no good to any commoners. It's still going to benefit by some privileged classes.
Okay, we'll soon be signing off for today's edition but we still have a few issues to look at. Now, 74 days out of the country, and Cameroonians, I remember we've covered this issue significantly, discussed different dimensions. Do you expect anything different? the country was running, will there be any way the country will run now compared to where it was? And if there is no change, what says about the role of the president in our present country?
No, we cannot say that. On our daily life, nothing is going to change.
Okay.
But at the level of diplomatic ties, some few diplomats that were to go directly to the Unity Palace when he was abroad, they could not do that. But now they can do. So, to the layman, when they must talk about the overdue state of the president of the republic abroad is pushing the argument towards an incapacitation. They want to prove to the institutions that are still, if they are still respecting the rule of the law, to show that Biya had another term of office that he doesn't deserve by his biological fabric. He is weak. He cannot perform like Ibrahim Traoré or any other active president can do. Now, it doesn't say that, it doesn't cancel the fact that things were already done the way they have structured the country. Okay. Even without the president, this country can run, because the military, in a military state, it suffices that they present the gun to anybody who is against, and he's going to fold his tails and put him between his legs and sit quiet. So many intellectuals in this country, you think they don't know what to say? When have you ever seen a political scientist hearing his voice to analyze what is happening?
I think we've had so many of them on CRTV and
No, yesterday, for example, for those who followed the live session, they did everything to give to the opinion that actually Cameroonians were demanding that particular spectacle that they were presenting. Never in the life of any state has the return of a president been a ceremonial activity, but they even celebrated it more than the feast, more than the national day. So this is not just happening this year, and it's showing that the more the president of the republic is getting old, the celebration sometimes to come and even take weeks. Because last year they started this initiative of broadcasting, long hours broadcast. They will go and bribe students to go for 1.5 a day. They go and stand by the roadside, and they do that sometimes with some of our parents who actually wanted to lure us into such a failed system, just that we escaped, and some of them curse us that we will never know success because we refuse to enter their double standard lifestyle. So I want to say that.
Okay, thank you. Now, before we go, these are some few questions that I want you to answer in less than 30 seconds, and maybe in just one word. So I have the first question. Let me just get the first question. Please, no long stories. Straight to the point. One word to describe the president's return. One word or less. Yes, one word.
Unnecessary.
Unnecessary. Wow, you heard it from him. He says it's unnecessary. Question 2. What is the biggest expectation Cameroonians have from the president who is back in the country?
Hope.
You really think that Cameroonians are hoping?
Yes.
Well, they are hoping. And what kind of hope? Maybe you should expatiate. I will give you the liberty to expatiate on this.
So you could choose the other one. Now you are giving me. So
I have the power to decide whether you expatiate.
Well, when I talk of hope, we are in a religious country where most people are spiritually backed. So the way they have cooked the country, most people live in hope that can never be met. But if you tell them that, they will consider that you are harsh. So most of them, all the drama you saw them doing yesterday, some are having their document that is tied in one ministry, some are having their children whose the bank account has been blocked somewhere. Little issues, social issues that are systematic problem. So they hope that since the head of state have come, he's just going to automatically press on one button and it's going to solve all. And you cannot stop somebody who is under hardship.
Okay. Third question. What should be the president's first priority, the first thing he should do now that he's back in the country?
Appoint the vice president.
Appoint the vice president. Okay, that is an expectation. The fourth question is his return likely to change the political atmosphere in Cameroon?
Yes.
Can you? I'll give you 30 seconds.
A new election announced is going to set the political atmosphere more dramatic.
Okay. Now, what is the biggest issue he cannot afford to ignore now that he's back in Cameroon?
Well, the different scandals.
The different scandals?
Yes.
And there's so many of them.
First, the indomitable lion, figure food means Wahala. For now, receiving the indomitable lion is something that he cannot ignore.
Yes. Okay. I think we're going to talk about any major change in the government. Any major change? Do you expect any major change?
A cabinet reshufflement before the end of this year
is unlikely.
It's unlikely.
Okay, that's one. I think the same way. What should young Cameroonians be watching for? We talked about his promises that this mandate was for young Cameroonians. What should they be looking out for? 30 seconds.
Think out of the box. Help yourself before you get frustrated.
It has nothing to do with the president.
No. You see, unfortunately, what Cameroonians do, when I say Cameroonian, it depends on how I live on daily basis. And I see my neighbors, my workers, my friends that we work together. I see their mentality. And all I can tell them, learn to believe more in yourself.
Learn to believe more in yourself. Now, one word do you think that President Biya, who is serving, maybe, we don't know, where is his last term, who wants to leave as legacy?
No, he has nothing to do with legacy. He's a power monger. What we are going to remember about him is the same. Is the same legacy people like Hitler left.
The last question, like I don't want to buy that, but the last question now, and I'll give you 1 minute only to answer it. If you were to write the president's biography, what would be the topical things?
No, he can never choose somebody like me to write his biography.
No, if you were to take yourself into his shoes.
We should also come closer to reality. Yes.
No. You are an analyst. I give you perspective to the country.
Okay.
Today, Biya says he's going.
Yeah, right.
He has handed over the power, or he maybe whatsoever.
Right.
Now he says, write my story. Ruling Cameroon for 43 years or so. What will you jot down?
What I will jot down is the ability to stay quiet and allow people confuse themselves and turn out and like ruling people with silence, creating an atmosphere where whatever choices people make, give credit to you. And he's not the first person using it in history. That's why I'm trying to tell you that somebody like that will never choose somebody like me to write this
We'll discuss this in our next episode because I had a conversation with some guys and there was a kind of controversy. Some says President Biya is one of the best presidents in the world. It is very, very difficult to rule people for 43 years and you are still going even at your age and others are saying he's the worst president. So I think that maybe in our next edition we'll bring this topic just to give perspective to our viewers. And one word before we go, if you want to tell our viewers.
Nobody has ever feel confused when he trusts himself. Most people are confused in life because they give more time to others than themselves, and at a certain point in time, they cannot rewind the tape. Your life depends only on you. If anything good or bad is to happen to you, then it's first of all going to concern you before your wife, your kids, your workers. Anything that is going to happen will start with you.
Everything will start with you, and that is how we saw it for today's edition. Thank you for being part of the show today. Please, we are begging. The only thing you can do to us, if you are not joining the membership, is to subscribe, to at least comment, so that you become part of the community. So we have an open community, which is subscribing, and we have a closed community for those who have a membership. So thank you for being there today. See you today, again with maybe other content, and tomorrow for more discussion and analysis. Until then, bye-bye from us. That seems presidential.